Hi, it's me, Bill Patton, with the Youth Sports Report today. And in our headlines, we're going to have demand for youth sports surges in Las Vegas. Leon County resumes youth sports. YMC youth and adults programs receive a sponsorship. That's good news. Governor Inslee announces eased restrictions on restaurants, youth sports, and movie theaters. And what's happening in San Mateo County youth sports. Two youth soccer players test positive for coronavirus, and ACL injuries are on the rise in youth sports. And then I'm also going to talk briefly about my book, the Athlete Centered Coach, which is my magnum opus. So anyway, we're going to get right into it here. So I'm going to start doing some screen sharing, and let me find that right there. Okay, good. We're ready to share. Hey, look, it's my whole screen right there. What do you know? And yeah, I like Virtual Shield. It's really good for the security of your connection, and so you can't be tracked. All right, so here we go. Demand for youth sports surges in Las Vegas following the governor's announcement that youth sports could resume competition. After school programs like Sports Social are gaining traction. We've really seen an increase. People are becoming more comfortable and ready to go do things with their kids, said Sports Social founder Andrew Devitt. A state of the art thermal camera was donated by a Las Vegas tech company. A state of the art is easing parents' minds. All right, yeah, reading is a problem for me. The thing I like best about it is they waited to open until everything is safe, said Gil Fuentes. Now, how do you feel about that? I particularly am not a fan of let's take everybody's temperature, because what happens if for some reason your child is a little overheated from whatever? you know Maybe they got upset, about something. Maybe they were crying and their temperature went up. Maybe they warmed up really well ahead of time before doing that. Some people have temperatures that are higher than other people's temperatures. So, it's a tough thing. So this is curious to me. I do not want to be have my temperature taken before everything. So that's just me. Let's move on to the next one. Leon County resumes youth sports. This is such great news, right? From Marissa Stubbs. Children in Leon County are ecstatic as fall sports safely resumed under CDC guidelines. Leon County made this plan effective on September 29th. Recreational centers and parks all across the county are now open for sports activities. However, these facilities are required to follow strict protocols. Lee Davis, director of Parks and Recreation, says the safety precautions being practiced have exceeded her expectations. And that's nice. That's nice when people go above and beyond. I've been very impressed with our sports providers and how they are diligently working to make sure our kids are safe and the coaches are safe. Our sports providers are aware and conscious, so I feel very certain everyone has the best interest in our kids, Davis said. So, really quick editorial on that is that, you know, I do believe that, let me stop sharing for a second, pause sharing, okay, and then I'll come back on. So, I think one of the blessings that has come out of the um, one of the blessings that has come out of the coronavirus is that people are taking health more seriously. Now, I'm sorry, but there's never going to be a microbe free world. So I disagree with the idea that people can make things completely safe. That's just not true. It's I don't know. I don't know who thinks they can make things completely safe. So I want to dismiss that notion. On the other hand, I mean, how many people have sent their kids to school sick and they know that they've got the flu or whatever, and they push their kids out there? Keep your kids home if they're sick, right? I mean, a lot of people are forced to go to work even when they're sick, and that's not even such a great thing. So, I think we need more sick days, and people need to be empowered to take them. So there's a balance here, but I think the blessing of all of this is that people are going to take health more seriously. Okay, let's get back to sharing. Where was I? There we go, right there. So I don't I sometimes run a little hot or a little cold, but other people I know it's an average temperature. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right. YMC youth and adult sports programs receive sponsorship in Hannibal, Missouri. Look at that, $12,500. Take a close look at those people's eyes. They look pretty happy to give a check. Blessing Health System has signed a 3-year commitment with the YMCA of Hannibal as a co-sponsor all youth sports and exclusive adult sports sponsor for August 2020 until the end of July 2023. YMCA of Hannibal's Senior Development Director, Cara Villarreal, stated, community support is essential to broaden the reach of Y services. The collaboration between the two organizations will help serve Blessing Health System's mission. So this is a great idea, people. I mean, I think it's really an important thing to be able to reach out to healthcare people. I mean, they have a vital interest in the health and safety and of the community. So reach out to them. They're going to be a resource, and they can help you out with getting some great resources. All right, heading back. Let's get back over here. So the next one is Inslee announces ease restrictions on restaurants, youth sports, movie theaters by Becca Savransky. Seattle PI. All right, there's Governor Jay right there. Governor Jay Inslee on Tuesday announced ease restrictions on restaurants, libraries, youth sports, and other businesses in counties across Washington. During a news conference Tuesday, Inslee said he was pleased to say the state's efforts were showing progress, even as the rate of transmission of the coronavirus still remains high above the state's target of having fewer than 25 cases per 100,000 people over the previous 14 days. So I think as we know, there's some really interesting things going on with the reporting of the cases. So cases, there's a lot of false positives. There's some really mysterious things where people check the box for COVID, even though the person said that they did not have it or any of the symptoms. But, I don't want to make too big of an issue of that. But it's nice to see the restrictions being eased. That's a good thing. I like it. And let's get through the rest here. So, viewpoint. What's happening with youth sports in San Mateo County? And then I got to do that. See, look at that. I realize I have to switch to Safari until I can figure out how to use the Brave browser in reader mode. Right. And then look at that. This is a site that we are all so familiar with. A bunch of bees buzzing around the ball right there. Kevin Wolf, thank you for your article. As a parent of 3 kids who play a variety of parks, rec, club sports, my weekdays and weekends have been pretty full the past few years. My wife and I always seem to be driving our kids to or from a practice or game, sometimes lamenting the time spent in traffic or family dinners missed, but more often than not, enjoying the fact that our kids are staying active and social and not home playing video games or watching YouTube like you're doing right now. That's not nice. Anyway, so wow, San Mateo is like right in the middle of 101, which is some of the worst traffic in the world. Then the pandemic hit, and boy, do we miss those drives, practices, games now. Since early March, my kids, like every other kid in San Mateo County, have not been permitted by the county, which is following state guidelines, to play competitive team sports due to the risk of COVID-19 transmission. The guidelines stipulate no games due to the use of shared sports equipment and inability to maintain 6 feet of distance. As a concerned parent of the community, I get it. We need to be vigilant because the risk of transmitting coronavirus remains high. I absolutely worried that a child on one team could spread the disease to a child on another team, or that a coach could spread it to a child or vice versa, and a coach or child could bring the virus back to an older parent, grandparent, or caretaker. These issues shouldn't be taken lightly. So this is absolutely true. Now, what do we do with the flu? So the flu is more deadly to children. So are we going to do these same protocols for the flu? It's a legitimate question. And if you don't think it is, then show me why. But the death rate of people under 70 is way under 1%. So, I'm with Clay Travis on this. I mean, we need to isolate our people who are at risk, but let the kids play. They've got to play. It's so important for their ongoing health and safety to be out in the sun, running around, mixing with other kids. But if they've got the flu, they've got to stay home, right? It's so I want someone in the comments, if you see this, I want you to explain to me why we shouldn't use the same protocols for the flu. Because it kills kids at a much higher rate than coronavirus does. So I'll be looking forward to those comments, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. I'll be looking for some interaction here for sure. All right, moving on. Getting ready to wrap it up here. We got 2 more stories and then a quick book profile right there. And what do we got here? 2 youth soccer players test positive for coronavirus. All right. Positive coronavirus test for 2 area youth soccer players has triggered a discussion on the risks and benefits of youth sports during the pandemic. The 2 players were in contact with other players, they're siblings, and they had contact with about 30 other players. The kids who were exposed will have to sit out the next 2 weeks as a precautionary period as they await testing results. Brian Backelder, a representative of the program, told WRAL News that the program has uncovered 15 positive cases since August. He said of those 15, there have been no confirmed transmission to other competitors. Now, here's my problem with this, is that they didn't name the kids, but everybody knows who they are. So there's this interesting shaming that happens, and so it's like, oh, you got the coronavirus, and so you're bad news. Well, we don't shame kids when they get the measles. We don't shame kids when they get the flu or they're sick. We have compassion on them. But why this reporting? Are we going to report like this for the flu and for the measles? I mean, maybe if there's a major measles outbreak, then yes, I suppose so. But if 1 kid or 2 kids get it, are we going to report that? So it's interesting, the messaging that's going on here, right? Kids get sick, kids get hurt, and unfortunately, lots of kids are getting hurt. ACL injuries on the rise in youth sports. And then look, I have to log in or get a new account to continue reading. But L.I. Craner is a former professional quarterback and coach turned award-winning author of Books Make Brains Taste Bad, Brains with a C. I'm not a fan of that. Send questions for athletic support. So, oh, this is interesting. Oh, look, you can get a mattress, an interesting mattress on sale. That was unexpected. So one thing that I learned a while back was that the Italian Soccer Federation did a study, and they found that children who have early balance training, which could take many forms. I mean, it could be gymnastics, it could be, balance beam stuff, but hopping on 1 foot, these kinds of things, doing cone exercises and shifting your weight and whatnot, that children who do these agility and balance drills early are much less likely to have catastrophic knee injuries. So that's a little practical thing that you can take with you from this one. And then finally, let's get over here to the athlete-centered coach. So yeah, it's got a tennis player on the front. I've mostly been a tennis coach, so that's what I put on there. But This is a book that I published last year, and it is this is the result of 2 years of work and lots of talk with world-class coaches, developmental coaches, and expert in development. All right, so here's a review right here. Bill Patton has been coaching sports and, more importantly, changing young lives for better than 30 years. The athlete-centered coach is a must-read for anyone coaching youth sports at any level to help ensure that their young athletes have a rewarding experience and one that they will remember for all the right reasons for the rest of their life. Thank you, Greg Bach, Senior Director of Communications, National Alliance for Youth Sports, author of Secrets of Successful Coaching. So I would say, you know, check out Greg, follow him on social media, and follow his stuff. I mean, the National Alliance for Youth Sports has a lot of great resources. Now, here's another quick review. Dennis Coates gives it 5 stars. Bill Patton's remarkably rich book affirms over and over the focus of youth sports needs to be the young athletes, not the coaches, not the parents or sporting community. This truth can easily be lost as adults get invested in winning. But think about it. What young people gain in health and fitness, what they learn about self-esteem, confidence, goals, hard work, effort, team cohesion, and cooperativeness, and the lifelong friendships that are possible. The benefits for athletes are amazing, unless adults ruin the experience for them. The Athlete Centered Coach has 107 chapters, all of them written for athletic coaches. It's an impressive sharing of decades of wisdom and lessons learned about how to be an exemplary coach for young athletes. Each chapter is sort of a blog post, as if Patton were sitting across from you. And I try to write that way, try to write in a very conversational tone, telling you the truth about a single aspect of coaching. With 107 topics, the richness is unprecedented. I particularly love the quotes that lead each chapter and the many stories from Patton's vast experience. Regardless of your sport, uh, your sport, of the age group of your athletes, I consider this book essential must reading for all coaches. The way for a coach to access this wisdom is simply to turn to one of the chapters, read it as it is an old friend talking to you. So that's nice. And Dennis didn't give his background, but he is a cutting edge brain expert. So his field of study is on athletic the adolescent brain and how you get really one chance to help your youngster develop a fully developed cerebral cortex. It's a one-time shot. And so athlete-centered coaching does that. It helps really create better decision makers. And each chapter is very readable. So you can find, that they're going to be anywhere from 500 to 1,500 words, and you can read each chapter in a matter of minutes. That's a format that I really like to read, so I figure there are other people like that. But anyway, all the links to these stories are going to be in the description, as well as the link to the book. And so here I am signing off. Please like and subscribe and add your comments. And I just keep it civil. That's all I ask. I mean, you can disagree with me. It doesn't matter. I mean, I want to hear what you have to say, and we can bat it around for the good of everybody. Thanks for watching.